This is winter Daphne, and it looks like it's got just all green leaves, but I think this is a variegated leaf species that I have. I've looked outside and it looks variegated to me, but I think it might get more pronounced as the season goes on. But anyway, it's blooming between the Himalayan sweet box that I videoed for you and what's coming up next, which is the daffodils, and simultaneous with my Edgeworthia, which I'll show you in a second. But this winter Daphne is highly fragrant, and it's got these beautiful waxy little flowers on it and very shiny waxy like leaves, and it's just a beautiful plant. So this one on the back side of my house is about 6 years old, and it's grown all the way around. It's rooted in front of the bird bath that you see there with the stones in it, but it's wound itself all the way around with these beautiful soft light brown branches that are just gorgeous. And I guess it's probably about 5 feet, 5 feet wide. It's beautiful, and I'm just so glad that it's blooming this time of year because nothing else in the back is. Although, actually now I'm remembering I'm going to have to add to this video viburnum. My viburnum is blooming. I'll get some pictures of that and add to this video. But anyway, this is the Daphne that's in the back, and it's about 6 years old. This is a close-up of the one around the bird bath. You can just see all the blooms that are on it, and as I showed you in the first image, each cluster has maybe like a dozen tiny little fragrant flowers on it. So it's really covered, and when you're around the plant, if it's a little bit of a warmer day, you can smell it, but it's not one of those plants that needs a lot of heat for the smell to come out, but just if the sun comes out a little bit. If it's too cold, you can't really smell it too much, but you can if you get up close. This is the one in the front that's a little younger. It's about the same size though, and you can sort of see in the lower portion of the picture the elegance of the smooth brown branches. And I forgot to mention on the one that's around the bird bath, you know, the bird bath got knocked over so much that I had to put rocks in it so the cat wouldn't keep going after the birds and knocking down the bird bath because it was crushing the Daphne, but I think it kind of trained the Daphne to grow around it that way. So anyway, this is what it looks like in the front. In this picture, you can sort of see how the leaves are variegated a little bit, but like I said, I think that gets more pronounced in the spring and summer because it doesn't look very pronounced right now. But I'm trying to give you a little bit of a scale of the plant here and how it's creeping through the railing, and I just love that. I love the wild and free bushes, shrubs growing everywhere. This is one of my favorite specimens, my Edgeworthia. And there are different types of Edgeworthia, and there's one that's like paper bush or something that it's a little more expensive that I didn't get, and I've since read that it doesn't have as many blooms, so I'm kind of glad I didn't get it. But I guess it's a little more elegant, but this is already a beautifully elegant specimen, and it is related to the Daphne, so I think that must be why it's blooming around the same time. So here's a close-up of the bloom. I'm definitely going to be doing another video of it when it's in full bloom because you can see that these haven't all opened yet. But this is a highly fragrant plant like the Daphne, and it smells similar to the Daphne, but it smells a little more lemony. The Daphne has a very floral, stringent smell, and this has a stringent kind of lemon smell. This Edgeworthia is about 5 years old. And you can see that it's got these are what the Daphne branches look like. These beautifully elegant, smooth barked, very sleek branches, soft branches, very woodland-like. Here's a bit more of a close-up, and you can see how many blooms it's got on it. But like I said, they haven't all opened up yet, so I'll do another video when it's in full bloom. This one is Viburnum Burkwoodii. And it's one of my oldest plants, so it's about almost 8 years old, and it's just starting to bloom now. This is the only cluster that has burst into bloom, and well, here, I'll just show you some pictures. It doesn't photograph very well this time of day anyway, but you can kind of get an idea of the scale here and see that it's an 8-year-old specimen that hasn't grown too fast, but I'll tell you some interesting things about it in a second. The interesting thing about this is that I had it in front of the house and it was getting really bad mildew on it that I thought it could tolerate. And it can, it turns out, but just not where it was. It was getting way too much water and not enough sun, I guess, where it was. Well, I don't know what the situation was, honestly. It just wasn't doing well where it was in the front of the house, and that was on the east side of the house. I uprooted that thing and I dug it up and I yanked its roots out and I dragged this heavy thing using all of my strength. I dragged it all the way to the east side of the house and it's done way better there. I sprayed it with vinegar and I've treated it every spring with an anti-mildew thing, and it still gets mildew and it can tolerate the mildew okay, but just not a whole bunch of it, and it's doing really well now. And you can see that it's a very leggy kind of plant, but it's got a lot of blooms on it, you can see from this angle. So it's a very tough plant, I would say. I'm very, very happy with it, and I'm so happy when it comes into bloom because it's the only thing in the back besides the Daphne that's blooming. And it also has a fragrance that's a more, it's still a floral fragrance like the Daphne and the Edgeworthia, but it's more of a powdery kind of lilac-y floral smell. And I'll show you another picture of just how much growth it's getting this season. In this picture you can see it's got new growth just shooting up in all directions. That's about 2 feet, maybe almost 3 feet, just shooting up new branches and leaves this year. So it's having a big growth spurt this year. We had a pretty mild winter. I don't know if that's why. And oh, there was something else I was going to say about it, but I forget now. Oh, I was going to say I actually have moved it twice. So I have a philosophy of whatever can survive my care is what sticks around, and a lot of things have died in my care, but this viburnum has been moved twice and suffered through mildew and everything, and it's done really well. So I'm really happy with this one, and I know it's going to keep growing. I think it'll grow to be like 10 feet tall or something. So thank you for watching.